Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. Today, we're going to be going over my analytical business report, the topic being effects of empathy on employee productivity in the construction field. My name is Baylor Milam, and this was done for my business communications class, Business Communications 205 at Macomb Community University. And just thank you for being here today and taking the time out of your day to listen to me talk. So I like to start with, just the baseline when we're talking about effects of empathy or empathetic strategies. We have to understand what is it exactly we're talking about? What is empathy? So this slide right here is just your basic Merriam-Webster, sorry, definition of empathy, right? Because there's going to be a lot of things thrown out there throughout this report. Oh, empathetic strategies, productivity, effects of empathy. So just to start out, we'd like to just put the definition out there so everybody has a clear understanding. And you can either read it for yourself, but I'll read it out loud. The action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thought, and experience of another, right? We've all experienced this before, or maybe haven't, just empathy, your basic empathy, and how empathy can affect productivity in the workplace. So here's our scope right here, as I like to call it, but that's basically your who, what, when, where, and why. So we start out with a problem, right? The problem was we have inadequate levels of empathy shown within the construction field. You know, um, from personal experience, I've seen this, and obviously through primary and secondary sources that we'll see later in this presentation uh, of inadequate levels. But the purpose of this study is to aim to see if empathetic practices can boost company demands or more or less productivity for these companies in the construction field, right? As far as who, this could be anybody within the construction field. This report could be for just plain old foremen, of crews that are running crews every day, stakeholders who have their money in companies and, they want to make more money on their companies, or just contractors and project managers, people that are seeing projects through every day. So, we started with the problem, we built a purpose, and once the research is done, now we can give this presentation to who, and that's, the people who are really interested in it, like you guys. So here we started with to start this business report, I had to start with data collection, right? This comes from primary and secondary sources. Primary sources being ones that I went out and collected the information myself from people that are currently in the construction field that can give us firsthand experience and introspective look into it. And secondary sources, current scholarly, up to date, researches that you can find out there that are cited throughout my actual business report. This research it says started on the 13th, but it really started a week before that, when you start brainstorming and everything. And getting back to this slide, or sorry, this slide, your scope, your problem, purpose, and who. That all started a week before, but January 13th is really when the research and the brainstorming and the putting it together started. So getting to our primary research, right? Um, this was the research that I went out and did myself, and what it was a 10 question, real quick survey. I think it took most of the participants around a minute 30 seconds, if that, to finish. It was real quick, real simple. But these were just questions, about how you felt. We'll see some more later in the presentation, but just how they felt, if they're recognized, how they feel at work and stuff like that. So this survey itself was distributed to 15 consenting participating adults, whether those are, skilled trades employees, laborers, electricians, roofers, drywallers. It was given out to different trades, different skilled trades, just so we could diversify the results and get a more accurate reading. I say we, but I mean myself. Um, and this was distributed via SurveyMonkey. It's just an online tool that we use, or that I used, to create a free survey. And then from creating that free survey, I was able, create a link, send it to colleagues, send it to people I didn't know. I would go up to people on the job site, say, hey, you mind filling out this report for me, or fill out the survey for me? It'll only take you a couple seconds, but yeah, just to get as much information as I can, as diversified but accurate, encompassing of the actual construction field. Um, yeah, sorry, next slide. So these are some of the findings that we got from that survey. I put the three most uh useful questions that we got out of the survey. There's 10 in total, but the ones that were mostly used throughout the business report. Do you think the crew would benefit from empathetic practices? As you can see right now, there's already an 80% yes. So that was very vital in our research. Are there formal policies in place to promote an empathetic workplace? We had I think it comes out to 68.33% people saying no. So this means people are saying, no, we don't have anything in the workplace. And then we go back to the first question saying, we could benefit from something like this. And then a little bit more of a diversified answer, but on the far right, we have a scale of 1 to 10. How motivated are you to perform when you feel supported and understood by leadership? We had more questions that were used in the research in the actual business report, but it's 20 pages long and we can't get all of it in 8 minutes. However, these were the most vital that came to the research. Oh, sorry. I got to push the button and not the keyboard. So then secondary research, all secondary research, I went online. They're current and up to date within the last couple of years and, put out by professionals. And I think there's 11 secondary resources. We'll see the works cited at the end of this presentation, but these were vital to the research as well to able to compare and contrast the primary and the secondary so we could get our data analysis. So at the end of the day, I say at the end of the day, but it was a long process. Did not take a day. There's two major analytical findings, right? So sorry, move you guys over so I can see a little bit better. Those two major analytical findings where construction crews benefit from empathetic practices and empathy improves mental health. So a big part of this research is that the construction field is primarily they have poor mental health problems. There's a ton of statistics on it throughout the report, but yeah, the first analytical filing was done with a compare and contrast between primary and secondary research, and the second was basically off of a lot of statistics and mostly secondary, but there was some primary research that helped us find the answers to those. So as far as summary, and recommendations, what I say to people that, this is relevant to, like the people we mentioned earlier, foremans, stakeholders and whatnot, there's two strategies that you can implement. And one of them, the first one being implementing empathy focused leadership training, right? So this leadership training, it's going to be a slow and steady thing, but this helps promote that empathy throughout the uh the workplace and really start boosting production. And the second one would be to prioritize employee mental health because when employees are in a better mental state, they're more likely to have morale, more likely to feel motivated, more likely to show up on the job. And actually throughout um the business report, it does state that, when you have better mental health, you're more likely to show up to the job, you're more likely to be on the mood and help out. So yeah, are there any questions? Getting close here. If anybody has any questions, anyone?
How large of a group could you work with this?
There really is at any scale really like the people we went out and got information from, it's a very large job. I think there's 900 employees on the job, but this works at a small scale as well. Yeah. But that about wraps it up for us as far as works cited. Here are those 11 secondary resources I mentioned earlier in the presentation. Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for coming out or joining us today and listening to me talk. Thank you.
It was interesting.
Very clear presentation, easy to listen to, and good